Good evening, Commonwealth, and thanks for watching the Channel 2 News. I'm Ashley McDowell. Let's take a look at tonight's top stories. A fire broke out in Culberville. We have the details. Also tonight, amendments are made to the CNMI House of Representatives budget for 2020. And we speak with the Casino Commission about the TRO that has been filed by IPI. In sports, a new baseball league takes shape this weekend. Stay with us, these stories and more are next.
The phone you want now on the best network and a plan that gives you endless data on chat, social, and music apps. Tell your Docomo Pacific rep you want now with access. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
Bubblegum Shrimp Company opens daily at 11 a.m. Located on Beach Road in the heart of Garapan.
Hafa-day, Tirwami, and good evening, Commonwealth. Today is Thursday, June 27th, 2019. A fire broke out today at the Coral Ocean Point Barracks in Culberville. The smoke was dark as it was determined to be a debris fire from items left over from Super Typhoon U2, such as plastics, tires, and metals. The Department of Fire and Emergency Medical Services received a call around 12:52 p.m. today regarding a structure fire in Culberville. When units arrived on scene, it was confirmed as a trash fire. A white truck from Winners residents assisted in supplying water, as DFEMS is only working with one fire engine at this time. The arson unit was on site, and the fire is currently under control. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. Up on Capitol Hill, the House of Representatives met today for the fourth special session. The HB 21-64 was introduced, giving the budget for fiscal year 2020. Amendments were made to the bill. One will add 6 new full-time employee positions, and $400,000 will be used to pay for these new positions. The final vote in the CNMI House for the amendment was 13 yes and 6 no. A main concern many have is the loss of money for other departments.
First of all, we're seeing this substitute of Schedule A for the first time just minutes ago, and from my quick reading of the changes, this bill proposes to take almost $500,000 from the public school system, from Northern Marianas College, and from the mayor's office to give it to the executive branch for a program coordinator, a special projects coordinator, a chief of staff, and a legal counsel for positions that are currently vacant. How are these positions more important than our public school system, which is in free fall right now, that our Northern Marianas College, which you just heard from our president, is operating on an obliterated campus in tents, and the mayor's office, which is still doing recovery work from the typhoon? How can we justify this, colleagues?
I want to clarify the statement of our good colleague, Tina, that we are not cutting further ESS. We cut the amounts budgeted on the governor's and lieutenant governor's office, and we gave it to PSS. We're not cutting PSS, we're just restoring these funds that were cut from these line items and restoring it back.
Mr. Speaker and colleagues, I too feel like if we do have this pot of available funding, and we have heard from PSS and MMC about the dire state of our schools and the risk that our families, the workforce, our students, I mean, if we have this available funding, I think it should be redirected there.
As of news time, the budget has still not been passed. Stay with KSPN as we bring you more on this tomorrow. The Commonwealth Casino Commission held their monthly meeting today to discuss updates, and KSPN reached out to the CCC Executive Director, Edward De Leon Guerrero, for comment on the recent temporary restraining order that was filed by IPI to protect the confidentiality of their tax information.
Public Law 1924, which amended 1856, which is the original gaming law, basically listed certain information that is supposed to be disclosed to the public.
Which includes tax information being made public. An open government request has been filed from a member of the legislature to disclose Imperial Pacific International's tax information to the public. And when De Leon Guerrero says he was in the process of responding to the request, IPI decided it was information that should be kept private.
With this Open Government Act, what I did was I wanted to make that folder available to respond to the open government. They decided that, well, those information are confidential information, and that I should not release it to the public. So
IPI then filed a temporary restraining order restricting the Commonwealth Casino Commission from releasing IPI's tax information.
So now it's at the court, and the best thing I can do right now is to allow the court and our attorneys and their attorneys to discuss this and really not go at length into it because it is currently under litigation. But that's the intent. We think that the law says I must release it. I am prepared to release it. I was asked for this temporary restraining order not to do it. They're claiming it's confidential. We're going to let the court decide that.
And now the Casino Commission, along with IPI, will have a hearing set for July 9th at 9 a.m. to determine whether releasing IPI's tax information to the public is part of Public Law 19-24.
If the court says it is confidential, then I cannot release. And if the court says it is not confidential, then I will release. I mean, for us, it's just give us a clear guidance. Either I release it, I get sued by IPI, or I don't release it, I get sued by the open government issue. So either way, CCC is saying it doesn't matter to us, just give us clarity. We are ready to release. And if you don't want us to release because it's illegal, then tell us it's illegal and we don't do it.
But when KSPN asked De Leon Guerrero if IPI has something to hide, he says,
if somebody asks you for your tax, sometimes you just don't want people to know. It's not necessarily because you have something to hide. I'm not justifying for them. I'm just saying that in a competitive industry like this, oftentimes you don't want your competitor to know exactly. Again, I'm not justifying for them, but you're asking me a basic question that if somebody were to ask me, how's your taxes, it's not something that you voluntarily say, oh yeah, I make so much money here and there. So that's a decision that they decided, that they think it's confidential.
De Leon Guerrero says the hearing July 9th will determine if the injunction will be squashed or made permanent, where IPI can continue to keep their tax information confidential. Reporting for KSPN2, I'm Ashley McDowell. The governor and his administration with FEMA held a public outreach last night to discuss the CNMI financial crisis. A lot were in attendance to hear and watch presentations created by a panel that included the governor, lieutenant governor, FEMA, Office of Management and Budget, Department of Finance, Mariana's Visitors Authority, and the Office of Planning and Development. A discussion that was meant to further explain the economic solutions turned into a focus on Super Typhoon Yutu.
The CNMI spent more than $25 million from our general fund resources in actual dollars and a total of $88 million in obligation toward the rebuilding of our power system, removing debris, providing food, shelter, and sanitation to the thousands of families that lost their homes, and the hundreds of thousands of relief goods, tents, and cots that we transported, packaged, and distributed to thousands of households throughout Saipan and Tinian. No community comes from a disaster of this size without any scars, and recovery at the pace we have seen has to be paid by someone. To meet this call from our people, we have had to make difficult decisions. With nearly all general fund money being spent in bringing power back online, providing food and water to households, and a wide range of recovery activities, coupled with lower than expected revenue from diminished tourist arrivals and a weakened economy activity, we have fewer resources today.
Let me talk a little bit about the initial response efforts, because when the governor spoke to you about them using $25 million right out of the gate, out of their general fund, it was for a lot of things that were happening that were probably you were unaware of, with some of the things that, and the challenges that not only we as an agency have, but obviously local government and territorial government, because of the tyranny of distance, right? We're talking, you know, I'm talking to our headquarters folks that are 10 hours behind us, right? So I got pretty much used to being woken up at 2 a.m. in the morning because it was 8 o'clock on the East Coast, right? So you have 18 time zones, you got a lot that you're dealing with. So I just want to, you know, it's important for everybody to know that those are all variables that we dealt with as we were during the initial response. So we have Typhoon Mangkhut that would happen in early September. There were some plus-ups for us there because we already had staff. We had federal staff already here. So we had a pretty good representation of staff that could help in the initial onslaught of responding to you two.
You know, our efforts had to mirror what FEMA's efforts were. Just on the screen, if you can see some of the agencies that were key. Of course, lead for any disaster through the Emergency Operations Center, Homeland Security and Emergency Management through the Special Assistant Gerald Gurrow. The Public Assistance Office, normally a recovery office, long-term recovery, but we did get assigned to the finance section of the Emergency Operations Center so that we could work alongside Homeland Security in making sure we knew the program and the eligibility of costs. We wanted to make sure at the end of the day we could capture and get reimbursed for every dollar that we spent. We know that's never the case, but that was the goal.
When Typhoon U2 hit the Saipan International Airport, our gateway to Asia, had damages to their control tower, runway lights, jet bridges, and other equipment and facilities. The Saipan International Airport was closed and arrivals immediately flatlined. During those final days of October and throughout this period, we had 0 visitor arrivals. And this continued until daytime flights started on November 15, and full operations a few days after that. Our image as tourist destination was greatly impacted by the storm. As you saw in the video clip earlier, national and international news outlets covered the story, featuring the most intense footage and stories. Several media fan tours had been planned for this period.
Coming up, we have a guest on set from the first ever NMI Miss Earth pageant. Hear what she has to say after the break.
Get your daily serving of 4G LTE data with IT&E's daily prepaid plans. Choose from the best priced plans in the Marianas. Get 1 gigabyte of data for $2.50 a day, or choose a $1.50 or $2 plan. Need more data? Top up. Get 100 megabytes for $1 or 1 gigabyte for $10. Visit any IT&E store or call us to learn more. And ask about our prepaid loyalty plan. IT&E. Explore your world.
Welcome back to the Channel 2 News. I'm here with Laisha De Leon Guerrero, who is the first ever NMI Miss Earth. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So how does it feel holding this title? This is the first time in the Marianas.
It's an absolute honor to be able to see all my hard work pay off and just be able to represent the Marianas.
Absolutely. So can you tell me what the Miss Earth pageant is, for those who don't know?
So the Miss Earth pageant is basically one of the top 4 pageants, and it's more focused around promoting environmental concerns and advocating for the earth.
And what is your advocacy actually?
So aside from advocating for environmental concerns regarding the military buildup, I want to improve the waste management here and focus more on what climate change has on our islands.
And so speaking about the waste, you know, Typhoon U2 brought a lot of waste on this island. So what are ways you think that people can work to try to kind of help it clean it up, since I know a lot of cleanup has happened, but even more?
I think it's part of it is the people and working together, and then another part of it is having our leaders step up to the plate and push for more environmental development.
Absolutely. And so that leads me to, you know, what changes do you hope to bring here in the Marianas by holding this title of Miss Earth?
I really want to just push for my advocacy and just see a change, because it's time that we finally develop more in terms of waste management and pushing for a more sustainable CNMI.
Absolutely. And do you have any tips? You know, you were the first, obviously, queen of the Miss Earth. Do you have any tips for anybody who might want to aspire to do this next year?
So actually, this is not my first pageant. So I do believe that before coming here, you have to go through your failures to finally achieve what you've been working so hard for. So yeah, that would be my biggest tip, to push no matter what.
Push through no matter what. Yes. And so with the Miss Earth pageant, there were 4 different categories, correct? Can you tell me about those?
So there's the swimsuit portion, and then there is the evening gown, and lastly the Q&A. But then the top 4 get the final answer that no one really knows what it is, so that's the most nerve-wracking part.
Yeah, you were both most nervous during that for the pageant?
Yes, I was.
And so what are those titles though? They're Miss Fire, Miss Air?
Yes. Miss Fire, Air, and Water. So their duties are basically to advocate more in concerns of water, fire, and air.
Perfect. Okay, so that's nice. There's different categories that people can win. You know, there's not just one top winner.
Yes.
There's 4, and then there's 1 Miss Earth though.
Yes.
That's amazing. And so is there anything else you would like to tell the public or any of us about this Miss Earth pageant that went on this past weekend?
Well, I would just like to say thank you all for the support that all the girls have been receiving, and not just me, and for always pushing us and inspiring us to keep going forth and advocating for the CNMI.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Laisha, for coming on today.
Thank you so much.
And I got to introduce you to the public. This is our first ever NMI Miss Earth winner. So thanks for coming on and just kind of letting us know how this pageant went for you.
Yes.
Coming up, Outlaw season can be found in the very near future. That's in the KSPN2 Sports Report next.
The phone you want now on the best network and a plan that gives you endless data on chat, social, and music apps. Tell your Docomo Pacific rep you want now with access. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
You deserve more. I know it's been hard. Come on, let's go for a ride.
Hi, welcome to Dow Rent to Own.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now this feels like home.
Dial Rent to Own, making lives better since 1987.
Buena sports fans. Buena sports fans, 1 down, 1 to go. The 2019 Little League season ended in Korea this week, but another league is going to pop up soon. It's been a struggle. Palacios Field has seen better days, that's for sure. The best was in the year 2006, the year the Micronesian Games were held here, and where CNMI won its only baseball gold medal. The ballpark and field completely renovated then, thanks to the late Tom McKenzie and Lau Lau Bay Golf Resort. The grass never looked better or greener. Everything was painted and manicured. Well, that was 13 years ago. 2015, after the Saipan baseball season had been completed, Palacios Field took a major hit from Typhoon Sauralor, causing extensive damage to the fencing, but the steel light poles stayed upright. The damage was limited enough so that repairs were completed, and the 2016 season played as scheduled. Same in 2017, and then the 2018 season started with a record 10 teams. Everyone knew the season was going to be longer than in the past, but no one expected it to go on for 8 months, and it still wasn't finished. Monday evening, October the 22nd, Game 1 of the Best-of-5 Championship Series, the pennant-winning CK Bears defeated GSM 8-5 behind the hitting of Kiku, AJ, and Henry Lizama, combined with the pitching of another Lizama, Jose Seboy. The Best-of-5 series was supposed to continue on Wednesday night, October 24th, but was postponed. There was a approaching Category 1 typhoon at that time, except it wasn't Category 1. It was a Category 5 super typhoon that turned Palacios Field into a pretzel. 2 typhoons in 4 years did a serious number on the only regulation baseball field on this island. No games have been played there since then. By virtue of their one-game victory, the CK Bears were declared the 2018 champions. All right, while waiting for FEMA assistance, the NMASA staff has cleared the debris and patched the nets as well as they could. The parking lot has got a fresh coat of paint this week. The islands have been beautified with plants and flowers. The parking lot hasn't looked this good since 2006. Well, there's one difference. The trees were straight up back then. Today, those trees remind us of which direction the typhoon winds came from. The playing field is a work of progress. The infield needs edging and weeding. The mound needs to be rebuilt. All fixable in time, but time is running out on baseball in 2019. League coordinator Tony Regolafoy says it's time to play.
We wanted to start the league as soon as possible because we have to select players for the upcoming third Micronesian Baseball Classic in Guam in November.
It's going to be day baseball.
We're planning to open the league with 6 teams on the 29th with 3 games, 9, 12, and maybe 3 o'clock during the day because we don't have the lights.
Playing in this league is a requirement to make the CNMI All-Star team for the Micronesian Baseball Classic.
The players that are not in the league, prospects or potential players for the MBC, they're going to lose out because they have to play.
The 8-month 2018 season was not the longest in its history. That would be in a league that started in 1986 and ended in 1987. All right, it's been a struggle. Also for the junior and senior leaguers, they didn't have a season all year. Well, maybe up until now, they have something that can help them. The 2019 Little League season, as chartered by Little League Baseball out of Williamsport, Pennsylvania, ended for the CNMI this week, but that's not the only organized baseball available to CNMI youth. The CNMI is also a member of the Baseball Confederation of Oceania. That's headquartered in Australia, includes all of the Pacific. But the CNMI hasn't participated in those competitions in years. Since then, there were no junior or senior Little Leagues in 2019. Players that age, though, can play in the BCO.
The other tournament in January, also in Guam, will be the 15 and under BCO tournament. And, we're also recruiting players for that age, 15 and under. They have to turn 15 next year and not turn 16 because they won't be eligible.
So how are those players, what league are they going to play in?
Senior leaguers from here, whoever is interested, we want to start training or maybe an open tryout just to select. And this is off season for the Little League program here. It's going to be held in January, so I don't think there's going to be a problem with recruiting those young boys to go to Guam. because we missed 2 tournaments, 12 and under, and then the 18 and under in Guam. So we're the closest, so we need to get a team down there.
Here's the windup and the pitch.
I don't believe what I just saw!
Let's Roll at Gold's Gym Saipan with group exercise for every body. Total Resistant Exercise, or TRX, helps develop your core and improve strength. And Zumba toning is probably the funnest way to get fit. The Shake Cafe is a great place to stop by for a meal replacement or supplements. Today is the first day of the rest of your life.
Today's high temperature 90, the heat index 101, the low 80, humidity 63%. Tomorrow more of the same, partly cloudy, isolated showers, easterly winds 10 to 15 miles an hour, high 90, low 79. Wind waves 2 to 3 feet over an east swell 3 to 5. Sunrise at 5:49, low tide at 10:38 in the morning, a high tide 4:58 in the afternoon, sunset 6:50. And yes, the days are getting shorter now. Tomorrow will be 6 seconds shorter than today.
And thank you, Bob, for that weather report, and thank you for watching. Please do tune in tomorrow night at 6. Have a great night.